is episode 17 of Talisman Talks. We have 2 girls swimmers today, Natalie Fiant and Meg Wolf. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
I'm good.
Yeah. So last year, you guys won OCCs along with the boys.
Yes.
Is that the same expectation for this year?
At least for the girls team, I know it is. The team second to us was Westover North, but a lot of their best swimmers left. So it's really us and Kilbourne that are going at it this year. I don't know as much on the guys' side.
Yeah, the boys lost a lot more people than the girls did, so.
We lost 2 seniors, and that's it.
Yeah.
The guys lost, I think, 6.
Plus Mark, and he was a diver.
Yeah, so they lost
a lot.
Okay.
But I feel like it's definitely still, like, something that could happen for both teams. Like,
Yeah.
Especially,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's the hope, I guess.
I know you came here from your like weekly meeting thing.
Yeah.
What is that like the type of thing you guys like talk about while you're there?
It really depends on the week.
This week, not as much because we're starting what is called taper, where we just had our 3 hardest weeks of training, and now we're going into easier training before champs to kind of let our
Rest.
bodies heal a little bit and be able to swim faster. So we were just mostly talking about expectations for that. But I think after OCCs, we have one more regular season meet and then sectionals and districts. And I think that's when those meetings are going to then turn toward like how to qualify and how to move on.
Do you guys have a meet this weekend?
Yeah, it's OCCs on Saturday.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was the same as the boys. Is it the same schedule?
So we'll swim OCCs at the same time, but after this, I think at least sectionals, the girls will swim in the morning and then the guys at night, and I think it's the same for districts.
I think.
But I've never been to
don't
states, and Natalie has, so I don't know how that runs.
States, it's prelim finals, so I think it's all together, and then obviously finals is like the top 16 from each event, or at least for relays it's top 16, and then
I think it's still 16 for.
okay, I don't completely know.
They change the numbers every year.
They change it every year, so I never really know, but we have like a random like regular season meet right after OCCs and then right before sectionals, so it's like
I think next like Wednesday.
Yeah, and then it's JV champs is right after that, so I don't know what.
When did you go to states?
I went to states my freshman year, but last year I didn't because there was a senior who got the spot on the relay that I had previously. Well, we did a different relay, but yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Would that be like someone from Hayes? Is that how that works? Or?
Yeah, so last year it was the medley relay was Mackenzie, Carter, Kara, Caitlin Salos, and Kaylin Smith, who's a senior. So she graduated last year. So now I'm in her spot.
So there will be people on our team that don't qualify individually for states, but go on a relay. So there's 3 relays of 4 each, but I think most girls on the relays swim more than 1. You can only swim 2 of the relays. But I think about 1 or 2 extra people will go without having an individual to go to states for relays for our girls team.
Is the schedule, so OCC this weekend, is it sectionals next weekend?
Is it in 2 weeks?
2 weeks. It's the
So you get a
11th.
weekend off?
We have a weekend off, but we have a dual meet in like, I think it's a weekday.
Yeah, and then JV champs, which is like for the people that aren't expected to make it to districts, he put them in JV champs so that there's more like of a likelihood for them to do good, and it's at the pool that states is at, so it's like a really high energy meet, and so it would be better for all of them.
Okay.
And that's the weekend not this weekend, but next weekend, I think.
I'm not 100% sure.
I don't completely know. We don't completely know. So
he didn't. So our coach, you could pick to go to JV champs if you were on the edge, like if you weren't going to qualify for districts after sectionals. But I think, I mean, as an upperclassman, I was not given that choice. I wouldn't have taken it, but I wasn't even given it. Yeah. But I think
it's most like
he
the younger
talked
people,
to like it's mostly like the freshmen and sophomores that are not going to get a relay spot and probably won't qualify to move on individually. That it's just more fun and a better energy meet to go to if you're younger.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay.
So who are some of the like people were expecting to perform the highest once we get to those?
Well,
I think
obviously, like
Caitlin Sallows.
Yeah, obviously Caitlin.
She's
Sallows
broken 4, 5, 6 team
last
records this
She
year.
broke a
Wow.
bunch, and I feel like this year she just
re-broke all
re-breaks
of them.
So I don't really know.
I think
at
she
this
set
point.
one new one, the 100 back.
Oh yeah, 100 back.
But I think
yeah.
she just reset a bunch of the ones she already had. But it was ridiculous. The first meet of the year, she set a new one.
Yeah. That was also Ned Reeb, so like
It was at Ohio State.
Yeah,
it was
so
a really,
it was a big meet.
It was a
but-
fast, big meet, but she went out, set one. She set one at our senior night. She set one against Berlin at the Delaware Y.
Pretty
She
much every meet.
set one at Canton.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy.
It's-
And she's moving on to states, and she's in some events seeded to get 4th, 5th,
Yeah, last year she got 8.
8th
I
in
think.
the 2IM,
I think I'm not
At
completely sure. It's
8th
on the
at
wall.
States?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
As a freshman. She's very fast.
And then our relay last year, our medley relay, I think they were in finals. So
Yeah.
like top 16. I don't completely know what rank,
But Caitlin will do really well individually. Mackenzie Carter has had a great season individually, and she's committed to go on after to
And then
Toledo.
Ashley Sallows, Caitlin's sister, is committed to Ohio University to swim,
And she's
she'll-
also
she'll
up
do
there,
pretty-
and
yeah,
she's supposed to do very well in the 500 the rest of the
she's really
season.
good. Distance is her thing.
But we have a lot of just sophomores and juniors like Natalie, who's just blowing everyone out of the water. We last weekend,
Blowing
whenever
them out of the
Canton
water.
was,
Yeah.
whenever Canton was, we had basically every single girl that swam made finals,
Yeah.
which means we're in the
It
top
was-
30-ish in
I
the
didn't
state.
know that we got 9th.
Yeah, we got
I
ninth.
didn't know that happened.
The girls got 9th, and we only had 9 people there
Not very
total.
many, yeah.
Compared to teams that brought 20 girls.
Mhm.
So that was a really big win for
I
us.
didn't know that happened until they announced it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
We didn't know until the next morning at school.
Really?
No, we just showed up and we
Because
heard
normally,
it.
like, the bigger teams like New Albany, they bring like 50 people to these meets, and we brought, our
9.
total was 15, but that was including the boys.
guys
So,
team.
like, probably 9. And so we were just expecting to just go there and swim and be, like, last place because that's
You don't
all the
show
bigger
up
teams.
with 9 girls and expect to
Yeah.
win
Yeah.
anything.
No. That's
So-
not.
Our girls have there aren't a lot of us, but we place really high and get a lot of points.
hmm
But yeah.
Or-
I was gonna ask, what are some goals like for the season, like personal goals or as a team?
I mean, as a team,
OCCs.
win
That's like
OCCs
our
again.
biggest one because it's just always been kind of a thing, especially after last year. It's like the bar is like set for us to like it's expected, I guess.
And we realized probably halfway-ish through last year that we had a chance at it.
Yeah.
Like, we never previously looked at it. I swam
Yeah.
my sophomore year. There was
Yeah, my freshman
absolutely
year,
no shot
we
at winning
didn't.
it.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever a thought. I
It-
guess
It
And then-
wasn't even an option. And then
Really?
last year when we realized we could, we kind of went for it. And now
Yeah.
this year, we have a really good shot, but we just want to go out and show that
Yeah.
we earned it last year, can do
Mhm.
it again this year. But I mean, myself as a senior, I want to make districts individually, which means I have to be in the top 32.
Yeah, because they changed it again.
Yeah. So there's about 10 teams, 15 teams that go to districts with us. It's basically all
Our
the
district
D1s.
is like the biggest district. I don't know why. but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the biggest district. But you have to be in the top 32 individuals after sectionals by time.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to do that. I've been on the edge every single
Oh my
year.
gosh,
I got it my sophomore year and got
DQ'd,
disqualified.
yeah.
And then it was terrible.
Why?
It was a ref.
A ref was
made-
being.
a ref made a really bad call, and we had
Yeah.
the race on video, and there was proof I didn't get DQ'd. But our
It
coach
was-
at the time, who's not our coach now, didn't
Yeah.
dispute it. So I got disqualified. I got 31st that year, didn't get to race. Last year, I was second alternate, which means 2 girls
Oh my
would have had to
gosh.
not
Yeah.
show up
Yeah,
for me
and
to
then
race
you
it.
just
And then
stand
I just
on the sidelines. And
yeah, you warm up, get ready, and then you stand next to the officials and watch everyone race. So I didn't even
someone doesn't show
go
up.
to the meet that year. And then this year, I'm projected to be in the 20s. So hopefully I can. I would love to
Yeah.
get it. That's mostly my goal. It's my last year in swimming, and it's my 14th full season. 15th year, 14th season. So it's just kind of more of I'm just finishing swim on a high note. I'm
Yeah.
having the time of my life. just enjoying it with the team.
Yeah.
Mine, so last year I made it to districts, and normally what I do is like sprint free, so that's like very difficult in itself because everyone does that. But my goal is to make it to states, but that's like by my senior year I wanted to make it to states, but hopefully this year maybe. But I mean, really my goal is to make it in the relays and just have fun with everyone. Like that's, especially the seniors that are leaving because there's so many of them this year. Like last year we only had 2.
We had 2 girls leave last year, but we have 4 this year.
Yeah.
And I think I started swimming with the junior class when I was 5.
I don't know.
We started club swimming
I've
together when
known
we were
all
really
these
little.
people. Like we've all known each other pretty much
Our
forever.
entire life.
Like,
So it feels weird being like, okay.
yeah, bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it'll be weird leaving, especially with the senior class. But
Yeah.
I know. I'm going to watch next year, and they're going to probably do even better.
I hope. We'll see. Without you guys, I don't know how we'll do, I guess.
Are there any like yearly traditions that the girls team does, like how the guys with the whole bleaching and shaving?
We're not as like dedicated, I guess.
Yeah.
Is what I don't know.
In the past, I think girls teams have done that.
Yeah, like
but
we're not. Like,
they bleach our hair and then shave it.
we're not
We
that.
don't.
We're not that
No.
serious.
Yeah.
We're
Like,
okay
I don't
not
know.
doing that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have team breakfast.
Yeah, like we had a
little
cookie
things.
party where we all like decorated cookies, and that was
a lot
definitely
of fun.
something.
That was an experience.
So I hope we do that again next year.
But it's more of like the little things that the girls team have that the guys necessarily
yeah,
don't.
like the guys are all just. It's kind of hard to explain. Like they're all just connected somehow by I don't even know what. Like they're all just.
They're tight knit
Yeah.
group, and the girls are just in a lot of different ways. Where
Yes.
like we had the cookie party, we had team breakfast, we
Yeah.
do like buddy baskets, we
Yeah.
do like normal team stuff.
Yeah, and
most normal high school
more
teams
normal
don't
things,
bleach
yeah.
their hair off. But
Yeah,
Well, the boys on most teams do. I don't know why.
that's a swim thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
At
it
sectionals-
makes you faster to shave your head.
Well, they're not like it's not shaving it to the scalp though. This is the thing. Like if they did that,
They
it
shave
would
their
make
head and they
sense.
put a swim cap on, so it doesn't really
Yeah.
make a difference.
Yeah.
Like all the boys at sectionals, they'll all be blonde, and it's just
I remember.
Basically, the girls' team bonding is making fun of the guys for bleaching their hair.
yeah, or whatever they end up doing.
Yeah, I remember CJ telling me about like the initiation for the freshmen. And
Oh my gosh, they made one of the freshmen sleep on the floor at Canton.
Yeah,
because
we were-
even though there was enough beds, they made him sleep on the floor.
We had a travel meet, and the girls figured it out. There was 3 to 4 of us in a room.
Yeah, so, like, we share a
We were
bed.
normal, but the guys had 3 to a room. They had 2 rooms of 3, and in each room they forced a freshman or the
Yeah,
youngest.
yeah.
They went
They had
into the
two
coaches.
beds.
They went into the coaches' rooms.
They stole her bedding
Stole Coach Lawrence's
make him a bed
bedding,
on the
put it
floor.
on the bed, and it was Nolan Green
Nolan,
slept
yeah.
on the floor. And
Yeah,
I think
sleep on the floor.
I'm just
I think
picturing.
it was Brody or Austin.
No.
One of them did it too.
I'm just picturing like CJ and Kaden. Like,
No, they were
walking around.
definitely like Nolan. You're sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
and then
We woke up and we were like, "You slept where?" Like,
yeah,
I feel like they put that Nolan kid like through the ringer.
oh no, they definitely do, and he can't say anything about it. Like, what is he gonna do?
oh, the other morning of practice, we have giant speakers. Well, the guys have giant speakers and they play music.
Oh,
But the
they-
freshmen,
They let him
the freshmen
have aux.
have a day
It
a
was
week that they get
terrible.
aux, and it was the worst.
It was
the
all
worst.
Kanye.
And
It was all Kanye.
The entire team, mostly the guys, but the entire team was just yelling at
It was
him across the
terrible.
pool, being like, "No, turn it
I don't know why
off."
they let other people do it because it just ends up bad. But
And it's 4 a.m. So it's a very
so
interesting.
it's like you're either like super excited or you're like turning
Yeah,
this
'cause-
crap off. Like
Because you're like, what, just woke up and you have to get in the cold
we
water. and
are on deck
The
by
freshmen
4.
are playing Kanye
Yeah,
on the big
we're
speaker.
on deck by 4:45, and we'll roll up, and
I wake
I'll be
up-
like sitting on deck, like stretching, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden one of the guys rolls out the
With-
speaker, like they're
blasting music.
the strangest songs you can think
Yeah.
of, and you're like, "This is too
and they all
early."
start dancing and like we're all half asleep.
Oh
and then
God, it's such. Yeah,
it's definitely something. I don't know.
it's not something I'm gonna miss next year. I'll miss the dynamic, but
I don't
there's
know. Their
I
dynamic
don't want
is
to
a little.
see all of that at 5 a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely something. I don't.
That's funny though. It makes me wish I was a swimmer.
We have some interest, like the time of practice and how hard our practices can get, and how much we all like want to be in bed and want to skip, but we all get up and do it. There's a certain level of like, we're crazy together.
Yeah.
Like we're a really strange group to be this close and this crazy, but it makes it fun. Like that's part
I
of.
think that's why the
joining
boys
the
are
team.
like weirdly bonded too, is because
Oh God.
they all do the same thing, and I don't know, just because we're all,
Yeah.
I don't know, they're just.
And for reference on volume, they'll go into the locker room after
Oh, we
practice.
can hear
and we are
the
in the
music.
girls' locker room, and they're like brick walls, and we will be getting ready, and we can hear it over our
hear
conversations.
The music like through the wall. And
It's crazy.
most of the time you can hear exactly what song, and it'll be like some like Katy Perry or like Taylor Swift, like it out like on the pool deck they'll be
we'll
playing
have
like rap.
Taylor Swift days.
Yeah.
Where the boys will go in the locker room. We're like,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
They'll be playing rap out on the pool deck, but then when they get into the locker room, it's like these random like pop songs, and like you can, it's funny. I can't.
That is funny.
Switch it up a little bit. Meg, you were part of the like NASA
Yeah.
project thing. I was in the class that you kind of broke it down for
Yeah.
in Miss Meyer's room, but it was a little bit like too smart for me.
At times it was too smart for me.
Could you explain to the listeners kind of just what that was?
So basically, there's a team of 5 students from Hayes. It was 4 seniors and a junior, and we all took computer science, or are taking computer science, and we coded an app for NASA that we took data points that their rovers and satellites collect, and made a 3D model of the moon, the South Pole region of the moon, and did a bunch of math and trig and all the fun stuff to say what points on the surface of the moon could a rover communicate with Earth, and then modeled that in an app. We had 8 weeks to do it, and we learned a brand new coding language and platform to do it on, which was majority of our 8 weeks. But we coded that app in 8 weeks, then we submitted it to NASA, but we had to present to school board, and we went to Dempsey, and I think we're gonna go to St. Mary's in a few weeks. We got to work with a mentor who you met in when we went.
Long-haired guy. I forget his
Michael.
name. Yeah.
Michael. He is. I don't know what to explain what he does because he legally couldn't tell us. Like he has the
Yeah.
highest security clearance in the nation for like. I think it has something to do with Space Force. He explained it and it went over my head. But we got to work with him and have like weekly meetings to figure out the app. But we find out if we made it through the first round of judging this Thursday. So that was a lot of fun.
Is this like a competition with other
yeah, so there was
teams?
95 teams globally
Okay.
that got accepted to do it. I don't know how many submitted apps because we had people with NASA we communicated with through the entire thing, and they were shocked when they found out we were submitting something.
Really?
Which makes us think not all the teams that
Yeah.
were picked submit. So we don't know actually how many they got. I think we're going to find out Thursday. But so the first round of judging is just, I think, just a panel of like, do we like it? Does it hit the criteria scoring wise? And then this next round, if we make it through, we get to do a sit down like Zoom call with NASA scientists and do like an interview style thing, which is crazy. Like, that's crazy. I don't believe I was involved. It was crazy. We would just work on it and be like, this is for NASA. This is insane.
So
But-
is it going to be used by NASA, or is it
So
just
the
like
entire point is that they're going to take the apps the students make and hand them over to their software development team, because basically the apps, when you ran it, showed exactly like, hey, these are a bunch of paths that a rover could take to communicate to Earth. These are good stop points. Like, this would work. And they're going to analyze all of this data that we collected and make it NASA level.
Wow.
NASA worthy. And that's their goal, is to send a rover to the moon, the South Pole region of the moon, to create a permanent base on the moon, because it's easier to launch a rocket from the moon to go to Mars than from Earth to go to Mars.
Yeah.
But they used a bunch of our apps and data points to send people to the moon again. We had the first person of color and the first woman going to the moon, and then this rover project that all our apps are basically
Wow.
free work.
So yeah, you're doing the work for NASA.
Yeah, just not necessarily NASA grade, but yeah, it's an easy way to trick high schoolers into doing NASA work. But it was the best experience I've probably had in high school. Definitely the coolest thing I've done here.
Wow.
So, assuming that at least a couple other schools like submitted things, was it all the same, like, I don't know how to explain it, like, is everyone doing the same thing where it's like the moon with like the points and stuff?
So basically all NASA gave you, they gave us this giant booklet like of instructions, and the only bit of guidance was like, create an app, show the South Pole region of the moon, you have to have 10 points, go. Like, that was it. It's very, very vague. So, I mean, they could look worlds different from each other, but everyone had the same, this is what you got to do, this is your requirements, go do it. But you can add a bunch of extra things to get extra points, where Paul Gobble is one of the guys on our team. He created a bunch of texture maps where you could change the color to tell you like the slope data or the azimuth angle, which is the difference of the horizon to like how much you could see Earth and how much it was. He would talk about it and it was like one ear out the other. Like listening to the guys on our team, it was Adam Fonditi, Jacob Payne, Paul Gobble, and then Rosemary Cranston and me. But listening to the guys talk is like, you don't even understand it at a certain point, but it's incredible.
Didn't he add a thing too? Is like you could put like a space kitty or.
So our running joke was in the first meeting, our mentor basically was like, and we hope to drop obstacles in it. And our meetings would be like 3 hours long because of how many jokes he would tell. But his big joke was like, you could drop a space kitty in. Like, that was just a joke. But then we had enough time. We had like 3 more days before we had to submit that we were like, screw it, this would be funny. And they completely rendered it on Blender. I think Wesley Warrens helped them with that, but they made it on Blender and then created an algorithm to do it. And they like pulled, the boys went to Jacob's house and stayed up until 4 a.m. the night before it had to be submitted to finish it. But they like that was what they were working on.
Wow.
And yes, we did submit something to NASA that had space cats in it, so there's a certain level of high school that they had to expect.
That's funny.
Yeah, I remember because I'm in video production, like Mr. Herring. A lot of that with like the video kind of came down right to like the last.
Oh my god, it was awful. And like we were filming it like the day before it was due is when we finished the video, but they were editing up to like
the morning
of,
yeah.
And it had to be 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was not 7 minutes, and we couldn't cut anything out. Like, we were out of time, and they had to voice over parts, and it was just screwed up. So they ended up speeding it up. So we sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
We sound awful. So that's something fun, but we got it in on time. Shout out D-Town, because that was not about to get done.
Yeah. I think that was all just Mr. Herring. I could be wrong. I think
Herring
he just
did a
stayed
lot,
after
but
school.
a couple people I know filmed it. Like Noah Hatton and Toad, they both filmed it. So, yeah, a lot of just last minute, but we were on crunch time. We didn't have an app that fully worked until the day before, so...
Is there somewhere that people could like watch the video?
I mean, I know Miss Meyer has it. Like, we have a link to it. I don't know. So we could publish it on YouTube, but part of the rules is you're not allowed to say your school name. You're not allowed to say any of your names. You're not allowed to say your mentor's name. Like, they were very strict on that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it can be public until the challenge is done.
Gotcha.
But I honestly don't know. And it could be done for us by Thursday. Like, if we don't move on, then we're done. And
Okay.
congrats, you did it. Move on. So I think at some point it will be, because it was huge to have 5 kids from Hayes submit something to NASA. But I will be slightly embarrassed if it is, because I sound ridiculous sped up. It's bad.
It was pretty fun.
It was so bad.
So if you do move on, like how far, like what happens if you make it to the end?
Hypothetically, they fly us out to Houston to the Artemis location where they launch the rockets, and we meet the scientists doing it, and we present to NASA.
Wow.
I could not fathom actually doing that. If we actually hit that point, that will be insane.
Yeah. Is it just one team that would make it there, or is there like...
That's a great question.
Okay.
Because some years they've taken more than one. They haven't done it since pre-COVID. Like, it's been crazy. I think we're going to find out how many teams they are going to take later. Like, I think it can be up to 10. But
Okay.
I have no clue. I think none of us realistically thought we would move on. But now that we submitted, we're like, oh, wait.
You might move
we
on.
might move on. Which
Yeah.
is crazy in and of itself.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Most of the people in the group for that kind of had their own, like, thing that they, like,
Yeah.
worked on, would you say? What was your, like...
Oh, I was like the organization. I made sure everything, I made sure the rubric points got hit. I made sure everything, we had documentation. I was the one that made sure we had something to submit.
Yeah.
Because the Rosemary did all of she did all of the reasoning and rationale and math. And the boys all took different sections of code, but they mostly touched that I was more of a lot of piecing things together, but a lot of just straight, like, hey, this is what we have, this is what we need. What are we doing to get there? Because I think they were all so deep into the code at some point that they didn't realize, like, hey, we have 6 days. But I kind of did anything and everything to help out. I never took one, like, specific, I'm doing this, because everyone else on the team just jumped on it so fast that it was easier for me to be like, okay, just tell me what I need to do. So that was just more my thing in it.
That makes sense. So, like, being part of that group, was that all things that you learned through, like, Miss Meyer's class, or is that kind of kids who, like, coding and stuff is, like, their, like, thing?
Coding's their thing, but we all learned a lot of it through her class, but it was a new language. So we learned JavaScript and CSP, and Paul, Jacob, and I, and Rosemary are in CSA, which is Java-based, but we coded in C#, which is not that similar to either of those. So that was rough.
Is that what NASA uses?
They use a bunch of different ones. I think they use a lot of HTML, but
Okay.
we got to pick whatever language, however we wanted to do it.
Oh, you picked this?
So we could pick what platform we wanted to make it on. You could pick what language. You literally could pick everything. But that was the language that we all felt like we could learn, but create something cool enough to use and send to NASA. Like, it was complex enough that we could do amazing things with it, but simple enough that we could learn it.
So why wouldn't you use Java, like JavaScript?
Because there's a lot of limitations. Like, there was only so much we could do with that to make it something we wanted to submit for NASA. And we went into this of, like, we could not submit something. Like, we were going to go hard. And if that meant we didn't submit, that we didn't submit. But Michael's big thing was, like, fail brilliantly. Like, if we weren't going to do it, we were going to come out with an app that is insane. And we managed to have an app that was insane that submitted. But I think we kind of from the start was like, we're not taking a shortcut.
Okay.
Which I think at times each one of us wanted to be like, man, I wish we shortcutted. But it was worth it, I think.
We can switch gears. We didn't have a volleyball podcast, but
gosh.
Natalie, you play volleyball, right?
Yes, I did. Well, I do. Not did, but.
How'd that season go?
It was good. Last year I dressed varsity and, like, played sometimes, but this year I started, and last year I forget how far we went in playoffs. I don't remember, but this year we played one team and we won against them, and then we played another team and then we lost against them. So we went pretty far. I don't remember how far we went in the last year.
Last year?
This year we went we played 2 teams and then lost to the second. I don't remember about the last year. I remember we lost to Olentangy because they were like #1 seed, so it was a challenging game, but for the most part, I think we did pretty good. We definitely had some rough patches, but I think we were a solid team. We lost 8 seniors
Yeah, I was
last
gonna
year.
say,
Our whole team was seniors, so it was definitely challenging to fill the spots. But I feel like everyone stepped up, and we all worked together pretty well.
And you guys didn't have a lot of seniors this year either, right?
No, we had Natalie Holman, Riley Gist, Alexa Kenny, Lauren Tompkins, and Morgan Connor. So we had 5.
Okay, that's
So it's
more than I
not
thought.
but last year we had 8 or 7, so it was a lot of people that we lost, and a lot of them were very, very they played for a long time. So that was definitely a blow, but we all work together. I've been playing with them for a long time, so I will miss them. But
How many? This is probably a silly question. How many people are on the court at one time?
So there's 6 people on the court, and then there's 3 back row and 3 front row, and then there's a setter that. It's a whole thing. The setter can go from back row and be in the front row. So then there's 3 hitters and a setter up front. And then there's 2 back row, and then the one with the different color jersey, it's the libero. So it's the main passer is what it's basically is. And so I'm a middle and it's front row because obviously I'm very tall and I'm not very good at passing. So it's definitely easier for people who are shorter or more agile, which I'm not. So
that makes sense.
There's 6 people, and then a setter, and then an outside, which is one of the other hitters, and then right side, and then middle, and then 2/3 back row. It depends where the setter is, really.
That makes sense. Because I was just trying to think of how many seniors there are, if that would be a full.
Oh well, last year we would have had a full court of seniors plus 1, I think. This year we would need 1 because we had 5 seniors, but.
Gotcha. Yeah, what you were saying with the playoff thing, it says you played Lancaster and won, and then lost to Marysville.
Marysville was the first set that we played, it went to, I think, almost 40 points, which normally we played a 25, and then you have to win by 2. So we just kept going back and forth until I think the final score was 38 to something. So that was it was really difficult to win against them. And then I think when we lost to them, they went to play Bishop Watterson, and they were the #1 seed.
Bishop Watterson is?
Yeah, they were really ranked. They were ranked pretty high. So I think we were all proud that we at least fought for trying to.
Are you pulling that up?
Yeah.
Mine's being slow. Yeah, they lost to Bishop Watterson 3-0.
Yeah, Bishop Watterson was insane.
I didn't realize that they all play in the same division, because typically Watterson is Division 2 for sports.
I don't completely know all of the volleyball
Are they
divisions.
D2?
I don't know.
They're D1 for swim.
Who?
Oh,
Watterson.
really?
They're D1. It says right here.
I was I thought
They
they were
lost
D1.
in the state championships for D1
Yeah.
against
I think they're D1 for a lot of sports.
Ursuline Academy. Did I say
Oh,
that?
Ursulane's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-0. And
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
so
good.
then they're good.
Yeah.
That's one of the sports schools.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them.
It's St. Ignatius.
Oh, St. Ignatius.
Is this a up north Cleveland school?
I think they're Cincinnati, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta look.
I know their swim team,
They're-
which means
they're-
they're probably Cincinnati.
It's Cincinnati,
Yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh, what is
I'm if
coming?
I know their swim team, it's
where else
Cincinnati.
would-
Yeah, they're good in volleyball.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
State champs.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any goals or expectations for next year then?
Well, so our coach this year, he resigned or quit because he has 2 little kids, so he needed to take a step back and be with them. So we have not a full new coaching, but so our new coach is Miss Gillis, she's an English teacher, and then our freshman coach is Sowers, I think. And then our JV coach is Mariah Swisher, my gosh. And she was the freshman coach 2 years ago, so she's coming back. And so it's like a whole new thing. I don't know what's going to happen. I think our main goal is just, I don't know, because this year we didn't have a lot of people. Like, we had a varsity team and then JVA and JVB because we didn't have enough freshmen.
Okay.
So I think our goal is just to have more numbers and just to get better, or like just, I don't know, because I feel like we've been getting better every season, and I think that's just the goal, is to like continue. I guess.
Are you guys gonna have a lot of seniors next year?
We'll have me, Madison, Desmond, Cami Pelletier Harris, Maddie Furr, Pammy Haas, and Addie Tope. Unless I'm forgetting someone. I really hope I'm not. That would be terrible. Six or seven.
Okay.
So we'd have a decent amount, which I love them all. Like, I've been playing with them forever, but so unless any of them quit, which I don't know, or unless someone decides to play, which could happen. That happened this year, so I don't know. But
I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I remember during the volleyball season you guys had like a 3-team. It was like you guys, BV, and Delaware
we had
Christian.
a try. So
yeah,
we always have like a try with Delaware Christian and BV, because I don't know, that's what we always do.
The Delaware schools.
And so we lost to BV, which was not fun because obviously, but then we beat Delaware Christian, which they are like, they don't have as much like, not talent, but like they don't have as much people. Like, volleyball isn't like their thing, but they're like amazing. Like, they will run like all the way across the court to get a ball if that's what it takes, and like they're so sweet, and like they were so nice. They gave us candy after we beat them, which is like not something that normally you do. And then so in that we came in second because BV beat us, and then BV beat Delaware Christian. But I don't know what happened. BV wasn't very good last year, and then maybe I think they got a bunch of new freshmen. I don't know. There was one girl that was really good that kind of helps them definitely, but it was like on homecoming too, so that was not the funnest part.
I was wondering, like, is it like a normal occurrence for us to like lose to them? And
not like, I think we beat them. We definitely beat them last year, and I think most of the time we do. I don't know what happened. Like, they just came and decided to play that day, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
We never play them like regular season, so we never really like know what they're gonna show up and do. So
yeah. Is there like a trophy for that? Like the 3-team thing? Is it just like,
I don't think we had one, but like we've gone to other tournaments. Like, we go to the Cardington tournament all the time. And last year we won that and we got a trophy. This year I think we came in second, or I think we came in third. But they get a trophy for that. It really depends on like the school and how big the tournament is for the most part. Like, if it's a big one, you get a trophy, but it always depends.
That makes sense.
I know you're only a junior. I don't know if you've thought about this, but after high school, do you plan on swimming, volleyball, anything?
I don't completely know. I'm probably more on the swimming, just because I've never played club volleyball like ever. I'm only playing like school, just because swimming is like, club is during the winter, and that's when swim is. So I would have to pick, and I've been swimming too long to not swim. Like, Meg has been swimming for like 15, 14 years. This is my like 10th. So at this point, it's like I have to keep going. Well, I don't have to, but like
if you were to do something.
Yeah, if I were to like play a sport in college, it would be swimming. But
Gotcha. Have you looked into like anywhere you'd be interested in?
I've gone to a few, but I haven't I don't completely know what I want to do yet, so it's just kind of like, what area do I like? Like, is this a cool campus? Like, that's really all I base it on now, but I don't know.
And how many girls do you guys have going on to play? I know Mackenzie,
Ashley.
Mackenzie and Ashley are the only two girls signed for the senior class.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next few years, we're going to get a lot of girls going.
Yeah.
Really?
We're going to get a lot of girls going.
Like, there's only 2 junior girls. Well, there's 3. Yeah, because Amanda.
Oh, yeah.
And it's me, Anna, and Amanda. I don't know what Anna plans. I don't think Amanda will. I think she's just swimming because it's fun for her. But me and Anna, I don't know
The sophomore class, though,
Sophomores are
majority of them, I would not
yeah,
be
because
shocked.
you got
if someone
Caitlin, you
college.
got Kara Glazen Camp, which I don't know if she will. She might.
She 100% could.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Like,
and then,
insane.
and then you got Mia Saxa, which she'll keep getting better. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, all of them will, but
The girls have a lot of depth where, like, a senior class leaves and you're thinking, like, that's a big hit.
Yeah.
And then
And
you
then you
realize
just
it
kinda
really
keep
isn't.
going, yeah. Which
you
I
look
feel
down
like-
the ladder and you're like,
which
well,
like the boys,
never
I feel
mind.
like our boys team is like growing, but our
Mhm.
girls team has always kind of been like
It's been a prominent
solid.
thing.
Which like our boys team used to be like very like
Hmm.
I don't know like.
The boys' team used to be bigger and
Yeah.
more
Really?
competitive than the girls.
And then I
that
feel
kind
like
of
all of
flipped.
them just like we just stopped getting boys to swim
Because a lot of us that are on the girls' team right now, basically sophomores and up, we all started at the Delaware
Oh my
Riptide
gosh.
YMCA club team.
Yeah.
Like, I
That
started
was-
with that coach, I was 4.
Mhm.
I
Um,
was 6, so
And
we were
like
all,
we've trained together since we were literally babies.
and
So
most of the boys they kind of just joined to join
they started
joined
later,
in,
where it's
like
more
Dempsey.
frequent that we
And,
all started.
like all
early.
most of the girls I don't know why it's just
We
most of the
all
girls
done
started
this.
early and then the
Okay.
boys kind of just join in because they hear about
Yeah.
all the things that they do and they're just like I want to be on the swim team. And then-
I think there's about
Sounds fun.
7
Yeah.
girls right now on the girls team that are currently club swimmers.
Yeah.
I'm like the odd one out.
She's
on
like
the team,
yeah, she
where
used to swim and then
I
senior
swam
year
club up
came.
to this past summer, and then I decided not to because I decided I'm not swimming in college. But that's when I just did high school. But I'm still training with the club girls.
Yeah.
I'm in between.
Mhm.
But
And then the boys, I know Vincent, he swims with my club, and then Max, he did. I don't completely know if he's still.
CJ did or does.
CJ did do club, and
He
then
swam
he
on-
I
just
don't know what
didn't.
CJ does.
He just
CJ
isn't
swam
swimming
on
club, I
my
don't
club
know.
team up until when I left.
Yeah,
And then I left,
Okay.
and then I did not. I don't know what
is
happened
he?
next.
He's not swimming with them anymore.
I don't know.
I don't know
I'm
if he
not
swims
either.
club.
I don't think he does.
I don't
because-
think he does anymore because he's also committed. So he's probably the coach at Ohio Wesleyan, coaches
Yeah,
their club
yeah,
team.
he's
So I would
our
not be
coach.
shocked if CJ just trains with that coach.
I don't know why he just doesn't join our club.
Yeah,
If-
that would make
if
sense.
He's gonna be his coach. I don't know. It's whatever he wants to do, I guess. but
Basically, a lot of us, this has been our lives for
Yeah.
13, 14,
Right.
15 years, which is,
a lot.
feels weird.
That's most of your life.
Yeah.
Like I have guaranteed 2 meets left, 3 meets left, maybe 4th, and now I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do all year? Because I've been, when I turned 10 was my first year I trained 20 hours a week, and
Wow.
it just kept going
I
up.
don't know
There
how
was a
you keep
summer,
track.
that I trained 40 hours a week because I would do doubles plus an extra 2-3 hours a day on dry land workouts. That's just what I've done. So it
Yeah.
feels weird.
So
It's-
you're not swimming in college.
I decided not to. I wanted to. I've always been more focused on school, but I'm ready to move on. It's not always been
End
easy.
of an era, I guess.
So what is the next step?
I'm going to college for mechanical engineering and computer science. Maybe getting a minor in business. Just kind of. I'm going out of state. I'm between 2 schools, which feels weird, but I'm just kind of saying, see it as sports.
Can I ask which 2 schools?
Villanova University and
Wow.
University of Notre Dame.
Wow.
so-
Okay, I knew Notre
Yeah,
Dame.
I found out in April from them, but I just got accepted to Villanova last week. So just kind of, okay, now what?
Yeah.
Just got to pick between those 2, which
Did you
is a
put on
choice.
your Did you put on your college application that you're working for NASA?
Yeah, you should.
I got to add to my Notre Dame decision. So I applied early, but they didn't reject me, but they didn't accept me. So I got to add to my application, which was a weird, like, oh, by the way, since I applied, I worked for NASA. I've also done, like, this, and this. Like, it was a very
And it probably
strange
makes
letter.
a big difference.
Probably, because I did apply computer science and engineering. So it's
Yeah.
a weird flex to have at 17.
Yeah, by the way, I worked for NASA.
Yeah.
No.
Hopefully that helps. I would love that.
So would you say Notre Dame's like your number one
Yeah.
choice?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
both my parents went there. I've been in love with it since I was 10.
Oh, yes.
I went to campus last January, fell in love. I spent a month and a half there this summer studying on campus for engineering. Just wouldn't have wanted it any other way. So if I get in, I'm going.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love Villanova. I adore Philadelphia. So I would kill to move out there. I'm going to love it either way.
Yeah.
So just kind of waiting, seeing what comes next.
Just to like switch it up again, I guess. You're one of the, I don't know if it's just the student representative.
Yeah,
for, like,
there's just one, just me.
How did you get into that position?
So I actually did Global Scholars, and my project involved getting approval from Hayes to do it. So I had to have a bunch of meetings with Dr. Stranges, and he basically was like, "You applying to this?" I was like, I was thinking about it, like, I'm interested. And he's like, "You're applying to this." I said, "Okay." So I put my name in. There was a lot of other seniors that were looking at it. I wanted to do it really bad. I'm not a K-12 Delaware City. I transferred here. So
Where did you go?
Didn't you go to?
St. Mary.
Yeah.
So I went to Delaware St. Mary, preschool 8th grade, and then came for freshman year. And then COVID happened. So I wasn't even really like here until junior year. So I just kind of put my name in, see what happened. And then they offered me that role, I think end of last school year is when I found out, like May. So that's when I agreed to give it a shot.
What is it like for you? Like, what are your duties and?
My big role is I'm the in-between of students and everyone in charge. I'm mostly there to be like, hey, don't forget we're still affected by all of this. So at board meetings, I get a vote, but it doesn't count. It's more what the students would vote on it.
Okay.
So it's more
just so they know like the opinion.
It is an out loud reality check of like, would we agree with what you guys are doing?
Okay.
Which has changed things this past year, which is actually kind of crazy. Like I didn't know how much of an influence that is, but the board members, they will send me emails and like reach out and try to figure out what the students really want, which is really reassuring knowing. But a lot of that, I meet with Dr. Stranges before every meeting, kind of go over stuff happening on the teacher side of things, on the administrative side, and then I also just say cool things students do, which is like my favorite part is I get to just kind of brag on everyone publicly, which is strange because I do a lot with like the Delaware Gazette on Hayes stuff.
Yeah.
So
you reached out to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was making sure that was you.
That was one of the many weird months of it.
Because my grandma sent it to me. She's like, "You know that you're in the Gazette?" And I was like,
Yeah. No, trust me, my grandparents, oh my god, they message me like every week and I'm like, I know I'm in it. Like, it's about school board. I'm on school board.
I did the interview.
Like, I've been in it since August.
Yeah.
But it makes me laugh all the time, so that's good.
Have there ever been any, so you said that like you kind of just speak on students, like what you think they would want. Has there been anything you've heard that's kind of just like crazy, like any just like ridiculous thing?
She will like come into the locker room in the morning and just be like, "This is what happened."
The morning after school board meetings is the most interesting for the swim team because
So
I will come in there losing my mind.
Yeah.
Because there is a time that there is public participation.
I've been there for some funny stuff.
Yeah, and I think most people know how crazy it got during like COVID, and like it's not that extreme.
Yeah.
Well, most of the time it's not that extreme. The last few meetings have been, but that's been interesting. The big thing right now is banning books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about that
And
somewhat.
it's a challenge sometimes because we're not allowed to respond. The board members and Ms. Kegley and Ms. Swearingen and myself, no one can respond, which is hard when all you want to do is like be like, yes, no, I don't agree, I agree. Like it gets rough. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of restraint. And that's typically when my teammates hear about it in the morning. But it's been interesting. A lot of yelling.
Yeah.
A lot of angry older people. But it's
What's the deal on banning books?
just
It's complicated.
they like it, they don't like
There's
it.
people like wanting to. What kind of books?
You
Just-
name it, they've yelled about it. My
Really?
personal favorite is one that had, quote, too much swearing, and you're not allowed to just stand up there and swear at the board members, right? And so this dude was like, I'll give them code names. And so they was like, it says the F-bomb this many times. It says a word to replace but this many times. And it's just like, dude.
Yeah.
It's in high school.
We're talking about books in our library.
In Hayes' library. Yeah.
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 Who like checks out?
Like,
I don't think it's that deep.
Yeah.
It's also like about a quarter of the students here are legal adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like, I feel like
They've probably heard worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would not want to know what happens in the bathrooms. Like,
yeah.
You guys can handle public school. But
Yeah.
hey, they are entitled to their opinion. They just like to share it loudly.
So are there going to be books that are going to be taken away?
There's a committee that does that, and it's not school board. That's the other thing. School board doesn't determine that.
Mm-hmm.
They just tell us. So there's a committee that's spoken on it, and I know the major book that was the most frequent brought up, the committee said, no, we're not banning it, because it was a graphic novel about, like, queer youth.
Okay.
And they were like, no, we're going to keep this here. My personal favorite, one lady tried to ban all graphic novels.
Just like the library.
She said it wasn't real literature. Okay, cool.
That's
Yeah.
Is that not censorship? Like,
Oh, their favorite thing to say is, we're not banning, we're just removing from our children, like how you would censor the internet. But I don't think they understand how the internet works.
yeah.
Because we all have phones. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because remember, Joe, you'll probably get there if you haven't already, but for CSP, we at the end of last year, we had that whole thing about censorship and the global
That's where we're
divide.
at, right? That's like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been definitely a lot of fun being on school board. Like, I'm very, very grateful. And it's been one of, like, probably the best opportunity I've gotten from Hayes. Just because it's weird, because I went from just being a student, and I'm still just a student, but I get a different look into, like, how schools actually run. And, like, it is complex what goes behind it. When
I believe it, yeah.
Like, now I realize, like, complaining about some things, and I'm like, oh, that takes a lot of work. Like, there's only so much people can do. But it's definitely really been cool and changed my perspective on a lot of things.
Yeah. I don't know, I always, like, tell myself I want to go to them, but I've only been to, like, one. Like, when Mr. Haynes...
Oh,
like,
the Mr. Haynes project! Yeah, so I actually didn't go to a Delaware one during that Mr. Haynes project, which now I'm regretting. I went to Berlin's. That was even more of an experience than anything. That was insane. Police were involved. It was hilarious. That was a really fun night. But it's really, really interesting, because there's a lot of things that happen at school board meetings that people don't realize. Like, people that graduate early have to get like, approved by the school board and get their diploma at meetings if they want, which is like, then you get to watch people graduate, and, like, that's really kind of, like, I love that, because I'm like, oh, these are my classmates that I know.
Yeah.
So, like, that happens, and, like, public participation is crazy, but it's also, like, it's kind of cool to witness, and, like, special, like, awards are given out at those that are really cool. Like, the NASA team presenting was at a school board meeting, and, like, a lot of things happen that aren't what people think.
Yeah. I didn't realize till I went, like, how many people, like, go and, like, have things to say and, like, stand in front of them.
There has been one or two meetings with that, like, the room at Willis has been full. And it was weird, because I also didn't know that many people would show up. And then I went for my first meeting when I got, like, sworn in. And I was like, why are there this many people? When was this a public thing? But it got bigger.
So is that, like, a normal thing? Because I know you guys have, like, a monthly...
Yeah, so it's like once a month.
Is it like a normal thing for, like, public participation? And
it is at every meeting.
Really?
Yeah.
People just voicing their opinions?
Yeah. Yes. Every meeting. The last one was the most interesting.
Oh, yeah.
You guys they heard about it the next morning. The meeting was over, and I got yelled at in the hallway by public people.
For
not expressing my opinions on what they were saying because I'm not allowed. And they got really mad at that. Which was like...
You mean like what, like the...
Like they...
The part where you're not allowed
they
to,
wanted you to
talk.
like back them up.
Yeah. But I'm not allowed to like give my opinion on it to them at the meeting. And I told them that. And they were not having it. And I was like, okay, I gotta go. And I called my mom. And then I was like, I have swim practice in the morning. Like, I really gotta go home. And then the swim team got to hear a lot about it the next day.
I remember when I went to the one, it was still during like COVID and stuff.
Mackenzie Collette was the student rep at that time. And I feel so bad. That girl must have gotten screamed at every meeting.
Yeah. I remember this dude that was like, I'm not wearing your muzzle, this is communism.
Yeah. My favorite is I had the last meeting, there was a guy that came up and spent his 5 minutes talking about how we don't teach enough godly morals and stuff about God. And I'm like, this is a public school.
You're not allowed, right?
It's a public school.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who went to a
Catholic school.
private school.
I went to a Catholic private school, and I'm like, you guys are at the wrong place.
Yeah.
But, also, not all of them, most of them do not have kids in Delaware City.
I believe that.
A lot of them are either don't have kids that are in school anymore, like they are older, or they are from different districts, and they have to tell us their address. And at the last meeting, we had like 2 from Hilliard, 1 from Worthington, 1 from Westerville, a couple that had kids in BV, like BV's district, and it was like,
why are they so passionate about
that is a fantastic question I've been trying to figure out all year. I have not gotten that far. I don't know.
I feel like you just need to ask one of them.
I want to.
Do those people, are those like most of the people who are about like the whole book thing and like
some of them are,
wanna
some of
spread
them are completely like different things they're talking about. Like there was a lady that came up, this was maybe in December, and she was talking about music program and how there are like certification tests for orchestra that should be offered at every single school, not just like 2 elementary schools, and like stuff like that where you're like, oh, that's actually like really cool. Didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
There are people that come up and talk about just like, hey, you've done a great job, like thank you. And then there are some people that want to change things, do things differently, and they're allowed to do that. Like that is the point of it. But at a certain point, you're like, man, we've heard the same opinion so many times. And there are like 2 individuals that will come at every meeting and speak at every single meeting.
Same people?
Same 2 people. And like, it's like, you see them walking up and you're like, oh, well, what one are they going to yell about today? What are they going to say? It's like a bingo card. But I really do love it. I'm a little bummed that it was only a year, but we're gonna pick the next, like, who will do it for the junior class next year. So that's coming up soon, and I'm actually a little bit involved in that process, which is kind of fun.
Is it always a senior?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's always someone from the senior class that they pick before the end of junior year.
Okay.
Or their junior year. So I found out like April, May of my junior year. And we start applications soon, but the application was not it was like an essay of like, why do you want to do it?
Are you part of the like selection committee? Yeah.
And which is kind of cool because I don't know a ton of, like, I know a lot of juniors, but I don't know a ton of the people that are thinking about applying, which is like kind of fun for me that I'm like, ooh, I get to like.
Yeah.
That's like
I was just gonna say it.
You can explain it.
So like, we don't get like a complete say, but we can kind of help. Like, there's people who want to do podcast stuff next year for Talisman, and like, I know what you mean. It's like cool. Like you feel like sweet.
You,
like
you feel like, I don't want to say better than everyone, but
yeah, a little bit. Like passing down the torch, you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
It's like
I did this. Now it's your
a good
turn.
feeling, yeah.
Like I just feel like sophisticated. I don't know.
It also just like a little bit of comfort in like, man, the work we really did to do it, it's not going to waste. Like it's going on.
Yeah, that's like, because we didn't know if this whole podcast was gonna make it or not. It was just like an idea when we started it, and now it's like something we're passing down.
Yeah.
That like feels good, like it's a little brainchild that we get to keep going.
I just like accidentally clicked the SoundCloud button on the Talisman website one day.
Yeah.
And now there's this.
Now there's what, episode 17?
17 plus the 3 shorts.
Yeah.
So 20 really. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I think about that. Like, there's just like a day and a half of me like talking.
Just out there.
That's so strange.
That's an hour.
Yeah, we just did an hour.
Perfect.
Do you guys have any closing remarks? Anything else you wanted to talk about?
Just like getting to swim if you want to. Like
Yeah.
it's a hard sport to jump into, but it is like 100% worth it. And our team is like a weird little family, but it's a family.
Yeah, especially
And it's a lot
the
of fun
guys,
to be on.
you know.
Yeah, well, they're
if you don't
cult.
if you don't want to bleach and shave your head,
Join the girls team.
yeah, be an honorary girls member. I
And
guess.
OCC's this weekend.
Yeah.
Where's that
Yes.
at?
It's at Kenyon,
Kenyon.
College up near Mount Vernon.
Yeah, it's
so
at like 5 o'clock.
we're racing at 5. It'll be a late night. But
Okay.
Yeah.
we have one more meet at Westerville
One of-
North. I think
one
it's
of-
North.
One of the Western
Because our girls team might be trying to get a bunch of their pool records because
Okay.
we're all going to be swimming stupid events.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do they like have their own pool?
So each,
Is it at the Y?
it's at their Y.
Never mind.
So different pools can be faster or slower, and we
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
have we
We,
have
My boys talked about
Yeah, we
this.
dived into
yeah,
that a lot. Yeah.
and like we swim at their Y, and I hate that pool. And then we're at Thomas Worthington. Ugh.
They have that one that's like next to their stadium and stuff.
And it's a
Yeah.
garage. We
Yeah.
are swimming.
In a
We're swimming
garage.
sectionals there on the 11th.
Really?
Yeah.
How are they allowed to host sectionals?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because districts is at Ohio State, and that's like one
and
of the
worst
best
part,
pools.
the worst part is I swim really well there. I've
Yeah.
gotten
At,
at Thomas
Ohio
Worthington.
State. Or-
At Thomas Worthington.
Oh,
I've
Alex,
gotten,
you want to get out?
like 4 different best times there, and I hate that pool.
It's
So
bad, but somehow you end up going fast, which
I
is
kill
weird.
it there. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I know.
this year,
hopefully.
but
I don't know.
just kind of hoping our team keeps growing,
Yeah.
keep getting more swimmers, more people going to states.
Yep. I
And
feel like especially just growing and expanding, having people know about it, because like some people don't know that we're
We have a
actually
s-
like
We have a swim dive team.
yeah, and we're actually like a solid like
we
team, like,
are hopefully about to win our second OCC
Yeah.
in a
Back-to-back.
row, back to back.
Hopefully.
Both of our teams won it last year, and our coaching staff keeps getting better.
Yeah.
We keep going to bigger, better meets, placing higher. Like this is really just a start,
Mhm.
which is crazy. So yeah, just kind of look at swim, have some fun with it.
Mhm.
all
If I
right.
could do things over, I would have swam. Honestly.
Man, I didn't escape it for 13 years, 14 years.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.